Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Gingerbread DIY. I'm Sarah. Thanks for dropping by. Today, we're kicking off the Christmas season with some gingerbread DIYs. I know you guys are looking forward to it, so let's get started. For this first DIY, we're going to use some wood letters. I made these myself on my laser cutter that I received not long ago, but I am going to show you and link down below that 24 Hour Crafts also carries these wood letters. I painted them white and then used some washi tape to mark off some stripes. I'm going to do these stripes in red, of course, to do the classic candy cane look that I love with the gingerbread DIYs. So I'm taking a little bit of a makeup sponge here. I cut it down and I'm dipping it into the Waverly chalk paint in crimson. And I'm going to dab that on to the wood that is exposed. And that will give us our classic candy cane look. Now, if you pull off that washi tape and you have a little bit of residue, use one of those glue remover erasers from the Dollar Tree to get that glue off. It works awesome. I picked up this little peppermint from 24 Hour Crafts. You have to order the peppermint and then the wood round separately, but I love the way this looks, so I went ahead and did that, and everything is in 3 inches. So now I have this little bit of wood. I think that this was a stir stick at one point, and it was already cut down. I will leave the measurements down below. I believe it was 8.5 inches, and I just gave it a couple of coats of the Waverly chalk paint in white. And now I'm going to go in with a dotting tool, and I'm just going to create some red polka dots with the crimson color. Once again, I went to 24 Hour Crafts and I found these cute little gingerbread people. One is cut out kind of like a girl, and the other is just kind of the classic gingerbread look. I painted the little girl up to look like she's got a dress with her red bow, and the other one I just left in the gingerbread color, which I'm using the Waverly chalk paint in hazelnut. Now, for you that have been telling me that you love the gingerbread DIYs, but you can't paint those faces that I create, I have a solution for you. Peachy Keen Stamps. Now, I had not mentioned Peachy Keen Stamps in the past because they actually went out of business for a while and you could not order their stamps. But I stumbled across a post not long ago and found out that they are actually in production again. So you can go to Peachy Keen Stamps and purchase stamps just like this. I will link the exact ones that I have down below. This is a really super easy way to create these little gingerbread faces. They come in a variety of sizes, so you can match your gingerbread face up with the right size gingerbread man you're using. And they work out perfect. And I'm just using the archival stamp made by Ranger. You just want to make sure that you've got a permanent stamp ink that you're using. So make sure that it's not water-based. I either use the archival by Ranger or the I will link it down below. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's another one that I use all the time for stamping, and it is one that you can use other wet materials with and it won't smudge. So this is a great option for you guys that love the gingerbread DIYs but don't feel confident painting on those little faces, because I don't know about you, but these little guys I think turned out adorable. So I'm going to use my Posca paint pens. You guys know I love these paint pens a ton for the little details that I add into my DIYs. And again, I will link those down below. You can use any paint pen or a paint and paint brush if you'd like for these little details. I just find the tip on these particular Posca paint pens are perfect for getting those fine details. And look how cute these are coming about. So I gave everybody some little details, painted them up, and they're looking adorable. Now to assemble our sign. So my plan here was just to hot glue these down. You can reinforce these if you would like with wood glue. You can reinforce them with some Jenga blocks on the back. I just chose to hot glue these down for now, and I will probably go back in the future and just do a little block on the back with some wood glue to just make sure that everything is secured nicely. But since this is a project that will stay in my home, I'm not too worried about whether it falls apart. If it falls apart, I'll just hot glue it back together. But look at how cute this little sign comes about. I envisioned it in my head and it came out exactly how I thought I wanted it to look. And so I am super happy with this project. I just adore how this one came out. For our next DIY, when I saw this wood set, I knew it had to be turned into some gingerbread stuff. So that's what I bought it for. And I painted our little house with our hazelnut color from Waverly. And then I'm just using one of these giant popsicle sticks or craft sticks from Walmart. And I am going to cut it down so that I can glue it on the back side and create, some places that I can paint basically to make it look like the door and windows. Otherwise, it's just kind of open, and I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do that. So next I made some texture paste. If you guys didn't see my video from the fall, I had made some texture paste using a recipe from our Upcycled Life. I will leave the recipe in the description box below. Just make sure that you use regular school glue. I accidentally used an all-purpose glue that is an Elmer's all-purpose glue, but it's kind of a fast-drying one, and ended up having some issues getting it to kind of pipe after a bit. It was just kind of, the glue I think was drying in the bag a little bit too fast. So make sure that you use school glue, the regular cheap school glue, and it can be Elmer's or like Jot. It doesn't really matter. I've used the Jot, I've used the Elmer's, but this is the only time I've really ever had an issue with my texture paste drying too quickly, and I really do think that it was because I used that kind of fast drying glue. So I put it into like this little plastic snack bag, zipper lock, and I cut off a very tiny end of the corner, and then I'm just gonna pipe on this texture paste like I would frosting. So if you need some ideas of how you want to decorate your houses and your trees, definitely get onto Pinterest, and you can find some great ideas on decorating gingerbread houses. Look at real gingerbread houses for inspiration, because this texture paste works just like the frosting. It's amazing, and it dries super great. And I've been really impressed with it so far. So I had made some of these candy cane sticks last year when I was doing all my gingerbread stuff last year. I will leave the link on the video that I used to create those. They're pretty easy, just using polymer clay, which is readily available at most craft stores. And it really is an easy process. You just roll out your clay, spin it together, roll it out a little bit more, and then you bake it, and it's perfect. And then I had some little candy decorations that I added to our house. Now, when I was piping on my snow onto my tree line and stuff, I made sure that I used enough area that I could slide those back into the little holder. But I love how cute this little gingerbread scene turned out. Today's video is hosted by the lovely Leanna DIY. She does amazing crafts and DIYs. You'll have to go check her out. We are doing a collab for Christmas with all of these wonderful ladies. We are guest hosted today by me and by Bree from Bree's Arts. So I will leave the playlist link down below, along with Bree's channel and Leanna's channel, and definitely go check them out. They are fantastic crafters, and you aren't going to want to miss anything that anybody has created today, because that is a powerhouse packed playlist. So moving on to our next DIY, I'm using one of these little gnomes from Walmart. I love these little guys. They're so fun to play with. And you can make this into like a Santa Claus or a gnome, however you want to do it. And then I have our little gingerbread pieces. These ones came from the Dollar Tree, but you could always order them from 24-Hour Crafts. And then I have a couple of mittens that I had in my stash. Again, you can order some from 24-Hour Crafts. So I just marked off some areas to paint our gingerbread gnome. I got his rim of his hat in the hazelnut color, and then went in and did a stripe on the hat, and his little shoes I did in the Waverly hazelnut as well, as you can see there. And then I'm just going to go in and paint his beard. And I painted these two hearts that are from the variety pack in Crafter Square. So that comes with a heart, a star, and a flower. And you get two of each. And so I painted two of these hearts up because I wanted to kind of make our gnome have a body, because basically you see the beard here and you don't really see that there's a body, but I wanted there to be a body, kind of, if that makes sense. So you can do this step or skip this step. I really like how this actually turns out, and I will probably be doing this in the future because I just think that it adds more to these little gnomes. Look how cute that is. And those are just the hearts. I just placed them so that they're, peeking out, and it looks like his little sides there. And then I'm just going to hot glue our mittens to the front here. Now, I did not think about this ahead of time. Our gnome is going to hold a string of gingerbread men in the middle there. And what I should have done is put the gingerbread men onto the baker's twine first, and then put the string onto the gnome, and then placed the mittens. But I didn't do that. So I'm just going to cut the string off. You can kind of see that they're on the string. It's not super visible anyways, but I'll just cut off those ends and glue it all down. Now, using my paint pen, I'm going to go in and add those fun little details that you guys know I love. I am doing some dot dashes along the red parts of his hat. And I just love to add these little details. You are definitely more than welcome to add them or not if you choose, but I think that it really does add a lot of interest and makes a piece go from looking all right to kind of wow, in my opinion. So, like I said, you can do that step if you'd like. It's such an easy and fun step, and I just love it. And Samoa had to come and say hello to you guys today. She doesn't usually hop up there, but she was looking for some snuggles. So I have this peppermint again from 24-Hour Crafts. I ordered it in a 1-inch size for this DIY, and I just hot glued that to the top of the hat there. And then I'm going to go in and do the little gingerbread faces. Now on this stamp, it's got little eyebrows, and I didn't want the eyebrows on this because these faces are so small, or like the head area on these gingerbread men are so small that the eyebrows were a little overwhelming. So I just marked the eyebrows off with some painter's tape, dipped it into my ink, and then took that tape off and then stamped them. And that way you don't actually put ink onto the eyebrows and it won't stamp them. So if there's ever a place on a stamp that you don't want stamped, that is a great way to avoid getting ink onto those. So now I decided that our little gnome needed some snowflakes on his mittens and the brim of his hat. So I'm just adding on some very basic little snowflakes, doing some crisscrosses with little dots at the ends. And I think that that kind of completes this little guy. He is so cute and so fun. And I don't know, I adore how he turns out. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below what you think of this guy. Oh yeah, I wanted to make him stand, so I'm just adding a Jenga block to the back of our piece to make him stand. And that is all there is to it. I love this one, and this is for all my gingerbread and gnome loving friends. So for this one, I had been at Michael's recently and went into their 70% off section. this happened to be there. I think I paid $2 for this little tag sign, and I'm going to remake it. And first of all, what I'm going to do is just pop that pie piece off. It's kind of one of those 3D pieces, and I'm just using a little scraper there to do that. It did take off some of the cardboard stuff, so I'm just filling it in with a little bit of spackle. It's very easy. This is just the Dollar Tree spackle. You just rub it on and then just kind of fill it in, smooth it out, and then once it's dry, you can paint it. And I gave this 2 coats of the Waverly chalk paint in white. And now I'm going to go in and just distress those edges. I am using 150 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to go along all of those edges. And that little bit of red from the original color is popping through, and it looks super distressed and lovely. And I really like to do this part too because it does even out any kind of brush strokes that you made while you were doing the painting process. Now, the original sign had some, I don't know, some white stripes at the bottom, and I kind of wanted to recreate those. I am not doing any kind of measuring here. I'm really eyeballing it, and I'm just trying to kind of figure out where I want those red stripes to be, because I'm going to go in and paint the white areas in between the paint red. So I'm just making a couple of lines, making it as even as possible. You could definitely do some washi tape in between if you've got some that it's thin enough. I just didn't have anything that was thin enough, and I just thought, you know what, I can eyeball this and just go for it. So that's what I did, and I like the stripes that it came out. I did go in and use a little bit of sandpaper on those red stripes after it was dry, just to distress it. We're making this look aged and definitely more farmhouse. I have this coffee mug or hot cocoa mug from 24 Hour Crafts. You could also use the coffee mugs from the Dollar Tree, but I really liked the shape of this one, and I had it in my stash, so I thought, let's use it. I did, of course, white for the whipped cream there at the top, added a little bit of gray paint, and so that it kind of shows some movement in the whipped cream, some definition. That's all there is to that. Now I'm going to take a dry brush here. This is just kind of a brush I use very often for some of these kind of outside details, and I am using the Waverly chalk paint in Truffle. It's just a nice brown color just to kind of distress those edges, make this all look a little bit older. And then going in, adding those details on our gingerbread man. I painted on a couple little hearts for some buttons, added that same stamp set for the face, and now I'm going to glue the gingerbread man onto our mug. And I realized that I needed to distress the actual tag sign itself. So I'm going to go in with some mineral chalk paint and distress that with a chippy brush. And we're just lightly distressing it, making it look a little smudgy and older. Now, I had this rub-on transfer from the Dollar Tree in my stash, and I was like, oh, Happiness is Homemade is perfect, and it's that brown kind of gingerbread color that I've been using. So I thought that this was perfect for this DIY. So I am just going to kind of place it on there. I wanted to make sure it was as even as possible. And then I am going to rub that down and transfer this onto my sign. And of course, we have to distress our rub-on transfer. So just using that same chip brush and mineral chalk paint, that is what I'm going to do. Now we're going to add on our little mug, and I'm just using some hot glue, putting that right in the center, and that just is so cute. Now adding back our twine and that washer, and that completes this project. I love how cute, how farmhouse, and how perfect this is for a gingerbread kitchen. You guys are going to have to let me know in the comments down below which project was your favorite from today. I hope that you also go down into my description box and check out today's collaboration video link. You are going to be blown away by the inspiration you're going to get from all of these amazing crafters in this collaboration. Definitely go check out Leanna's channel. She is amazing. You're going to love her. Check out Bree from Bree's Arts as well. And I hope you have a happy, healthy, and blessed day. Bye.